if you don't lock in now, then you will clock in for the rest of your life.
You just quit your job.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
I just quit like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. Where are you at again in your business as of right now, as it stands?
Last month, I collected almost 30,000 cash collected. Yeah.
How do they almost instill enough discomfort to then make that change?
I think the answer to that question is not an answer that people like to hear, which is that you probably need to hit rock bottom harder. I posted in the group and I said like, hey, like I just lost one of my big clients. Like I really didn't think that they were going to leave, but here we are. Someone said like, hey, like welcome to entrepreneurship, man. It's tough love, but I needed that. I was like, yeah, dude, like you're right.
Business should be methodical. Business should be formulaic. It shouldn't be emotional, or you shouldn't make decisions based on emotions.
And I think in sales, like you sort of have to be either in pain or you have to be in fear of future pain.
What is up, guys? We're here with Dan, the man himself. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, bro. Thanks for making the time. I love doing these calls, kind of like what I was telling you about before, just because I think there's lots of really good takeaways from guys that are that have kind of already been there, done that, doing the thing that others are looking to do, that can kind of give some advice and some feedback on, hey, if you're trying to actually make money with a video agency, here's what I thought worked, here's what actually works, and here's how you can do the same thing. So we can help everyone kind of break out of that feast and famine and actually build a business that's predictable. So that being said, dude, when did we meet for the first time? That was a while ago at this point, right? Do you know?
The first time that we met was like in person was probably around September of last year. Yeah.
In person?
Oh no, I'm sorry. Like through, digitally.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, bro, did I meet you in person before too? And I just didn't know. I was like, man, that would have been embarrassing. I was like, wait, what? Okay. So yeah, so it was towards the end of last year. Okay. So, and we've been working together for a minute now too. And I think you've been in a few different programs, kind of like me. Like I've spent so much money on like different programs and mentors and learning from different people. And you seem like a guy that's also kind of in the same boat of like, hey, I just want to learn from people that are where I used to be, so I can just speed up the process. So you've been in a few other programs, had a few other mentors. And then if you don't mind, like at the time when we were on the call, like what was the place you were kind of in then? And what were you kind of looking to do in your business at that point?
Yeah. Ooh, man. What a question. What a question. I think it's funny too, right? Because like I'm a big fan of sales, right? And I think in sales, like you sort of have to be either in pain or you have to be in fear of future pain. And for me at that time in September last year, when I met you, the where I was just the business wasn't growing. And let's double click on that, right? Like what does that mean? So at the time I was, married, kids, 2 kids, full-time job, right? And I'm being held by these, these golden handcuffs as they call it, right?
Yeah.
And so the business just wasn't growing because I just like couldn't find a way to generate leads other than referrals, right? So that was number one, right? That was the thing that was really holding me back. That was like the problem. And because of that, like I wasn't tracking anything. Like I just wasn't tracking sort of like my any of my metrics, right? And like obviously we could dive deeper into that, but like just when it came to the numbers of my business and what it makes, what numbers you need to know in order for things to make sense, I just wasn't tracking it. And yeah, that's where I was in terms of like my pain and the situation that I was in at that time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah.
Yeah. So at the time, like you working full time, you're trying to build this on the side. And real quick, how long have you had that full time job for while also trying to build this? Like how long has that been going on for?
2022, 2021, like
so 2 or 3
like a little
years.
like like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you, real quick for the audience, you just quit your job.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
I just quit like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then since it's been a couple weeks, like how do you feel that you've been able to do that now? Like you feel good, feel a little scared? Like how's that been?
Dude, I don't feel scared at all.
Like, why don't you? Why don't you?
Well, because because I'm set right now, right? Like I feel like it's funny when I put in my 2 weeks at my job, right? Because I wasn't just going to quit. Like, even though I know I'm never going to go back and I'm going to be professional about it. The day that I did it, I told my wife, oh my God, I should have done this earlier. should have done this sooner. there's a quote that I love. It's I don't know who said it, but it was like, if you don't lock in now, then you will clock in for the rest of your life. And so I'm a big believer of that now, right? And I always like, I'm always like, yeah, like that makes sense, but I never actually took action to do it. So yeah, man. So
Well,
I'm feeling great.
why do you think it took so long? Like, what did you need? Was it something that you needed to acquire before you would be in a position to be able to make that leap? Or do you feel like it was more of a limiting belief thing? Like, what was the reason?
I think your environment shapes you. And, you mentioned at the top about, that, you and I, we've done coaching, we've had different mentors, and
Yeah.
I love my friends. I love my family. I love my wife. I love everyone that my childhood, everything was great. But like the people that I've just been surrounding myself with, they weren't business owners and they weren't entrepreneurs. And so when you hang around, people that just don't have that drive, then you tend to kind of sit back on that too. And so, just being around individuals who are at the place that I want to be, and who have been doing it for a long time, it made sense. It clicked in me that like, oh, like, yeah, like what am I doing? Like, why am I listening to a manager or a boss who's never made $30,000 in a month?
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yep. And that right there is such a huge principle that like people they hear like, oh, you're a sum of the 5 people you hang out with. But I don't think people really think about like how true that actually is. The presentation I did in McCall, I don't think you were there for that one, but our mastermind in McCall, I gave a presentation on like the 7 lessons I had to learn when growing my business. And one of them was you literally are a culmination of your environment and the people that you surround yourself with. And I found myself, not to get too in the weeds here, I don't want to digress too much, but just I remember when I was younger, still building my business, I couldn't get past like 5K a month. And I was just like trying to make a video for anyone that would want it. I didn't know anything about business at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember because I had so many limiting beliefs and because I subconsciously was not confident in my ability to deliver and I didn't know how to find the answers and how to find a way to deliver, I found myself subconsciously surrounding myself with people that were, I don't want to say below me, because like everyone's on their own journey, right? But people that weren't making as much as I was, and I was making like 5, but people that were working jobs that like would talk the talk but wouldn't walk the walk. I found myself surrounding myself with people like that to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it until a lot later on. I was like, because I don't feel like inferior. I feel better about what I'm doing. And that kept me in a state of comfortability. And it wasn't until I finally was like dropping money on programs, finding people that were making like 50 grand a month and surrounding myself with them and actually realizing, one, the levels of like the game and what it means to actually make money and how easy it actually is. Not simple in theory, difficult in execution, right? Like it's simple in theory to make money. Execution is more difficult, but it wasn't until that started happening, I started getting like forcing myself to become uncomfortable and be in the right rooms where I was now at the bottom of the totem pole. Cause that's the only way you're going to actually grow and scale from there. So it's interesting you say that. I totally relate to that. And so what was like the turning point where you made the decision? Was it a culmination or was it like you woke up one night and you're like, all right, I'm done?
I mean, I think just again, meeting those people in the group and just surrounding myself with the right people. And, it's funny too, cause you're engaged, right? Like, and so Warren Buffett, I mean, Uncle Wally, right? Warren Buffett, he says one of the most important decisions you make in your life is who you choose to spend the rest of your life with. Right. I'm paraphrasing, but he says something like that. Yeah. And like, I think my wife sort of is like the person who was like, hey, like you got to do this, like you have to, it's in you. I think like having that support system and having someone who is going to be there by your side and just like has you no matter what through, through sickness and through health. Like what a godsend. Right. So I think that was part of it. But obviously there's people listening to this that don't have a significant other. So I want to make it more actionable for people like that. But that was part of it. That was the first thing that came to my head when you asked me that question. But for me, I think once you surround yourself with the right people, again, the mindset changes, but then also your actions change as well. Like I've talked to a lot of people, not just in our group, but like everywhere. Specifically one person, right? Nolan, my guy, Nolan. And he's talked about, the sacrifices that he's made, the things that he does, the things that he's passionate about. And I'm like, Nolan and I, we kind of started around the same time a little bit. I think he's a little bit more, a little bit longer than me, but um, like he's been able to kind of change my mindset in terms of the things I need to do and things I don't need to do. For example, right, I'm a big basketball fan, right? I love basketball. The playoffs are right now. I haven't watched any of it because I know this is it. Like I quit my full-time job. I've burned all the boats, metaphorically.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I'm not going to do all that stuff. I'm going to do the things that's going to make me successful. And sometimes that means giving up, watching basketball, right? And just really prioritizing the things that matter so that way you could put yourself and your business in the best possible position to grow. So that's a long-winded answer, but like that's really what it comes down to, man. It's prioritizing.
Why do you think so few people are actually willing to prioritize, sacrifice? And because like so many people say they want to, few people actually do it. Why do you think so few people actually do it?
Well, there's a difference between a want and a need, right? Like I want to go to the beach right now and sunbathe. I want to go to Hawaii. I want to visit my family in the Philippines, right? I want to spend time with my kids, and I will. But in life, sometimes you don't always get to do the things that you want to do. You have to do the things that you need to do. So I need to be on sales calls. Like I show you my calendar right now. Everything is there's like in the afternoon from 1 o'clock to around 5 or 8 p.m. sales calls, just sales calls. And that's the thing too. Like I need to do those, but I actually like doing sales. So, but like, again, going back to it, there are things that you want to do and things that you need to do. When you want to do something, you'll do it when it's convenient, but when you need to do something, you'll do it no matter what. So, that's why so many few people, they take the easy way out, the comfortable way out. And I think in order to grow, not just your business, but even as a person, you have to get uncomfortable and you have to do the things that you need to do.
It's an interesting point you bring up because I've talked about this before with people too. The concept of like, you mentioned this earlier as well, the concept of you will only invest time and money relative to the amount of pain that you are in. The more pain you're in, the more of a situation where the pain of staying the same is far greater than the pain of change, the more you will invest, the more you will sacrifice. And a lot of people just don't hit that point. A lot of people are comfortable, not happy, and notice the difference there. Like I talk to a lot of people that say they're happy, but really you're not. You're just comfy and you're complacent. And it's funny, when you and I had our first call, if I remember correctly, I think we hopped on another call afterwards because the first one, correct me if I'm wrong, I think at the end, after the call, I was like, I'll be honest, dude, I just don't know if you want it bad enough. I don't know if this is much of a priority for you, and I don't know if this is the best fit. Like, I think I said something like that, right? And the next call we hopped on, you're like, bro, I like watched it back and I was thinking, and like, you're right. And it scared me. Like I have reached a place of comfortability and I can't do that. So I need to take action. And a lot of times it's just acknowledging and recognizing that, like, because it's happened to me a lot. Like I do this thing. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but shit, it's worked for me every time. I do this thing where like, if I get fairly stagnant and I'm kind of doing the same things, I'll just like go find another course and buy into it. Cause then it like puts a fire to my ass again. And I learn new things. I obviously figure out first, what is the constraint? What do I need to solve? Who is most qualified to teach that? And then like have them do it. But, that's just like the thing that I do. But if I don't know the answers, but it's true. And the question I have for you is like, if people aren't willing to make change until they're in a position where the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, then how do they get to a point where they are in enough pain to make change? Like if they recognize I am too comfy, how do they almost instill enough discomfort to then make that change? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. So you're asking, well, I think the answer to that question is not an answer that people like to hear, which is that you probably need to hit rock bottom harder, right? Like, and I think the best analogy is like, I don't know if this is like a good analogy, but it's weight loss and weight gain, right? Because it's like, well, I don't know, like how heavy do you need to be to look at yourself in the mirror and think, oh God, like I need to lose some weight, right?
That's a great analogy. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's probably
Because
And
if you're
so,
slightly overweight and you look in the mirror, you're just like,
like, yeah,
oh man,
yeah,
I should probably go to the gym a couple more times. But it's
yeah,
not until you finally become like a fat piece of shit when you're finally like, I have to
yeah,
change something. And it's
yeah,
like, but then it's like, how do we make sure we don't get to that point in the first place? You know, is
yeah,
there a way?
yeah. I mean, man, for me, I feel like the only way is to again, going back to it, changing your environment. If you don't have that though, if you don't have a way to change your environment, which is a limiting belief because we all do, we have the
Yeah.
internet now. So
Yeah.
I think if you don't, then it's going to be really hard, and you're going to have to ask yourself, the questions about what's riskier. What are the ramifications of just staying the same? That's really the only way. And here's the other thing too, to think about it too. This isn't for everyone, right?
True.
Like
Very
growing
true.
a
Yeah.
video agency business, like video business owners, like whatever you want to call it, like being a business owner and entrepreneur, like it's not for everyone, So it's okay. And like I even say that in my sales calls when I talk to business owners,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, like doing nothing is always an option.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
that's totally fine. Like if you're happy with your current approach and the results that you're getting, I'll be the first person to tell you, keep doing what you're doing. Right. So it's like, I think that's part of it. It's not going to be for everyone. And you really have to know it within yourself that you want to do something like this, because not every day is, great. Right.
Oh yeah.
But
No,
like,
it's a roller coaster.
yeah, it's a roller
Yeah.
coaster for sure. This, man. Like when I first started, when I first joined the program with you and the boys and the guys, like I lost one of my clients, and that was 50% of my
Yeah.
income. And that was tough, man. Man, was that tough. That was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, going back to it, but being around people, it's funny. Like I posted in the group and I said like, hey, like I just lost one of my big clients. Like I really didn't think that they were going to leave, but here we are. And someone, I don't know who, I got to go back to the post, but someone said like, hey, like welcome to entrepreneurship, man. Welcome. I was like, it's tough love, but I needed that. I was like, yeah, dude, like you're right. Like, and if you're thinking, again, this is like for perspective, right? We always have to look at perspective. But if you were God and you were tasked to create the perfect salesperson, the perfect business owner, would you give them easy things to overcome, right? Or would you give them hard, challenging struggles in order for them to be great? What would you do? And the clear answer is that you would give them challenges. You would give them
Mm-hmm.
hard days, because that creates the type of business owner who's going to be able to succeed. And so
Yeah.
whenever I go through a tough time, because I know that there will be other tough times in the future, I get that. But I always think of that perspective. And I always think to myself, I need this right now. Like this is on me. I'll take full responsibility, but I need this right now to grow. And I could lean on my support system. I could lean on the people around me who are just like me, but I just need to remember that like I'm going to get through this. And so it's so tough, it's so hard, but like everyone needs to understand that like in order to get through that, you have to remember that it needs to happen. And so I
Yeah.
don't know where I was going with that, but that's the perspective that I always have now moving forward.
Yeah, I love this call because a lot of times we'll talk about like there's like the tactics and the strategies of like KPIs, ads, do this, address the constraint in business. But at the end of the day, the foundation and the core of it is, it sounds so woo woo, but like it's your mindset. And
Yeah.
personally, I hate when people do podcasts and talk about you gotta have mindset and like never quit. And I'm just like, bro, everyone says the same stuff. But
Yeah.
when you get down to the nitty gritty of it, you're 100% correct. And Hermosi actually talked about this, and it's something I think about a lot too, which is if you were to create a perfect person, like you just said, and
Mm.
they need to be incredibly patient, you're probably not going to give them things quickly. You're probably going to make
Yeah.
them work for it. So they have to develop patience. Or
Yeah.
if you want to develop character, you're probably going to give them a lot of opportunities to prove that character. Or if you want to make sure they are resilient, you're probably going to, drive them into the ground hundreds of times to build the resiliency. It's
Yeah.
only something that you can attain, like these paradigms and these traits. They're only things you can attain by being faced with them head on, and there's
Mhm.
no way around it. And one
No
thing
way.
too, not at all. There's one thing too when it comes to like, I also abide by this principle a lot. Going back before of like the mentality of, if you want to grow, you have to be in a state of pain. It's like, well, how do we develop pain? How do I like willingly put myself at rock bottom so I get to a position where I tell myself I will never become this again? Well, you can either go through it yourself, and then once you finally feel what it's like to eat shit, then you will do whatever it takes and make the sacrifices necessary to win and ultimately build the business and the life that you and your family deserve. Or you can follow the concept and the principle of a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. And
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate enough to, fortunate, also unfortunate, fortunate for me, watch my father go through 5 years of brutal entrepreneurship. So my father was a tier one operator in special ops, and he was an assaulter, went through SEER school multiple times, and then like he came out, started a government contracting company, and then he started a company out in Vegas. It was a big entertainment company, totally different business model than government contracting. And I watched him go through hell for 5 years. He's starting to write a book on it. And I literally watched just the extreme pain, suffering, and hell that most humans couldn't even fathom going through. It was brutal. It was insane. And I got to sit on the sidelines and watch all of it. And by being able to see that, I was able to go, I can never be in a position like this, or I can never make the mistakes that he made. And he knew what he was doing too. He told me the whole time, he's like, you didn't go to college. I didn't like, I was like, F college. Like, you're not going to college. You're going to come work with me for a year, and you're going to watch what it looks like to actually build a business. So you can see like the ins and outs, and watch all the mistakes that I make, and watch all the things that I do right and that I do wrong. So you don't have to make them yourself. Right. And I think that's also a massive upside. If you don't talk about like mentorship coaching, just because like I'm super big on that, is like,
Yeah.
I would so much rather pay someone that's already been through all the shit that I'm going to have to go through, so I don't have to go through it myself. Right.
Yeah.
And learn the lessons from other people. So anyway, I like this conversation because it's like, I think it's about the important things of what it actually takes to become a business owner. But I want to go back a little bit. So before, you're working your full-time job. Now you're full-time with the video agency, which is fantastic. And when you and I first spoke many months ago, your biggest goal was lead gen. That was like the biggest constraint for you at the time, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Because you were pretty good with sales. Like, you had a good foundation of like deliverables, making good content, working with clients, retention. The biggest thing was just, how the heck do I generate leads?
Yeah.
What do you feel now that you know what it's like to generate leads? Because real quick, where are you at again in your business as of right now, as it stands?
Ooh, man, right now, 15,000 monthly recurring revenue. Last month, I collected almost 30,000 cash collected. Yeah.
That's fantastic, dude. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Was that your biggest month so far, or did you have bigger months before that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's my biggest
Yeah,
one.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
30K cash, I love that. And then 15
Yeah.
MRR.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, definitely glad you quit your job.
Yeah.
So, okay. So what do you think was the biggest thing that changed? Like, what was that missing thing? Because
Yeah.
lead gen is broad. That's big. Like, what exactly does that mean? So what were you struggling with before
Yeah.
versus what did we have to implement before it started to like click and you started going, okay, this is how I'm able to get it consistently and start booking calls with people? Like, what was that that we had to?
Yeah. Great question. And to answer it, also going back to what you were saying, is that like, you want to pay people and be in the same room of people that have done it already. Here's the thing: when it comes to lead generation, you could definitely learn it over time, right?
Yeah.
But you'd be spending time, right? And so what I've learned specifically when it comes to lead generation is that you really want to make sure, again, like actionable items, you want to make sure that you're targeting the right people from the very beginning, from the jump. And I think that was the one thing that I didn't do with any of my ads or any of my video content in general. It's just, it was kind of broad, and I wasn't really focusing on like a specific group. Now, I was at the times focusing on attorneys, but then even then, like, yeah, I was focusing on a niche or an industry, but my messaging was super unclear. And so once I got super clear on like exactly who I'm focusing on and where they are, and also putting some friction questions in there too, that's when I started to kind of almost like hit a lever, right? That was part one. So just making sure your messaging is on point. And honestly, like, again, you could learn all of that maybe on YouTube, just trial and error, but over time you will learn how to do that. The other thing too, which is not as impactful, right? It's big, but it, it has to do with money. It just has to do with money. It's very simple, right? The more money you put in your ads, the better, right? And I think that was a limiting mindset belief to myself too. Is like, oh, I don't want to spend money. Well, the reason why I don't want to spend money is because that's the consequence of the problem. The problem is I don't have any clients. And so if I solve the problem and just get in front of more people, will I then have more money? Yes. So I just had to kind of get out of my way in that regard. But a lot of the times when I'm looking at people's metrics, not just my own, but also other people and my clients, sometimes the best solution is just you have to put more money. You got to put more money into it. You're spending 20, 30, 40, 50, only $50 a day. That's not going to cut it, right? Because when you're spending money on ads, what you're really doing is you're not paying for leads. You're really paying for data. I
Yeah.
need to see the data so that way I can make decisions based on the data and the metrics, not based on feelings. And so another thing that I learned from you and other people in the group is just being able to make decisions based on the metrics and the performance of the ads. But those would be the two big things right there. Number one, money, spend more money, right? And then number two, just making sure that you're targeting people in the creative, making sure that you're in the first 3 to 5 seconds that like it's money. You want to make sure that there's a lot of movement. You want to make sure that it's appealing, right? Sorry, like if if it's boring, no one's gonna watch it, right? So those little things, again, you could learn them on your own, but like when you talk to people who have done it before and they know what they're talking about, you just learn it so much faster. And for me, that was the biggest thing, and that's why I'm so glad that I'm with in a group of people who just know that, and it's helped me. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, help you made 30 grand last month. So that's,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Pretty good. I did okay.
Yeah, it's all right. That's fine. Yeah, 100%, dude. And I also, when running ads, like targeting 100%, and making sure you just spend more for the most part, but also understanding how to make data backed decisions and not emotional decisions, because 9 times out of 10, most creatives, most business owners make decisions based on feelings. Like, well, I think we should do this because I feel like this isn't working. It's like, well, what do the numbers tell you? Like, that's what we always say. Like, let's look at the numbers. What does it say? It says this, then do that. Right.
Yeah.
Business should be methodical. Business should be formulaic. It shouldn't be emotional, or you shouldn't make decisions based on emotions. The other thing too with running ads that are effective is offer, right? Like, what the heck are we selling? Who are we selling to? How much do we charge? What is the outcome we're giving them? That's like the biggest thing in the space of so many people do made to order stuff. And I think a big limiting belief they have is I have to do made to order custom projects because everybody's different. They all have different goals. Mm-hmm. Yes, but no. So like, what are your thoughts on like choosing an offer and niching down? Because there's 2 ways you can niche down, right? Like you can either niche down with avatar, or you can niche down with service, like one productized offer service. So what are your thoughts on like the offer? What goes into a good offer that's actually going to make you money and make your clients money when it comes to videos?
So I full transparency, I've never really been good at offers. And so a lot of times the offers that do well for me, I just like sort of just copied from other people, and I think part of that too is going back to the people you surround yourself with. But I think success leaves clues. And a lot of times because I've joined a few coaching groups, and a lot of times people join coaching groups and they almost want to reinvent the wheel. And it's like, they want to reinvent the wheel in every aspect of the wheel. So they want to go in like this crazy niche that no one's ever heard of, and it's not competitive and there's no money into it. And they're like, I want to go there because like that was my full-time job. I worked in this industry. I know it. Yeah. And it's like, cool, that's great. And it could work. Don't get me wrong. Like anything could work. But it's like when you see other people finding success in something in an offer already, it's kind of like, why am I going to switch it up? Like that's working well. And so for me, that's how I've done it. Right. It's just like, what's the quickest way for me to get money? Right.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the quickest way? And one thing I want to know is sort of like a side note. We talked about this a few weeks ago, but like, I'm at a point now where I don't even really want to be behind a camera. Like, I don't want to be behind a camera. I just want to grow the business, focus on sales, and become a leader. And so that's the one thing that I'm focusing on right now is becoming a leader, because I have a team now, and I need to show compassion, which is you talk to my wife, I don't really have a lot of compassion. Like, I don't really have a lot of patience. And those are things that like a leader has. A leader has patience, compassion, empathy. And I just like, I lack all those sometimes. And so I'm working on that, but that's a problem that I graduated into that I didn't know I had. And so I'm just solving that problem now. But that's a side note. But to get back onto the point, which was what the question was, uh, the offer. Yes, like you need a good offer, but don't think too much about it. I think there's a lot of people who have really good offers, and you don't really necessarily want to reinvent the wheel. Just find one that works, right? Do your research, make sure it works, and then stick with it, and then trust the process. I think that's going to be the
Yeah.
best thing when it comes to offers. Yeah.
And I think you're 100% correct too on the idea of like, dude, just take what already works and don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just like take the wheel and then run with the
Yeah.
wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the concept of imitating before iterating is huge. And I think I really truthfully believe when building a business, you always have to leave the imitation phase, but you have to do it first. I think a lot of people come in and they'll go into iterating right away. Like they'll watch training or they'll look at like a module or like hop on a coaching call and they'll be like, oh, here's the offer you sell. But then they'll immediately take it and go, this is cool, but like I want to add this and this or do this and do that because that's unique to me and I think it'll work. It's like, no, you're iterating way too quick. Imitate first. Just copy the ad scripts that already work, copy the targeting, copy the offer, copy the exact one call close sales script, copy the exact onboarding process. Just copy and paste everything.
Yeah.
And then you get the real-time data and the real-time feedback because you don't learn how to be a good business owner by studying. You learn by doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once you do and you collect feedback, you collect data, you actually hop on the calls. You actually know what your metrics are, your close rate, your cost per lead, your booking, your lead to booking rate, your set rate. And then you know you get feedback and data on what ads actually work and why they work. Then you're able to graduate from learning what to think to being able to learn how to think. And then you exit the imitation phase and you go into the iteration phase because now that you understand the concepts of what actually works because you're getting real market data, real market feedback, then you can start to get creative with your own scripts. You can start getting creative with your own onboarding process to further automate, further productize, further hone in. You can take SOPs that are already templatized, and then you can start adding on and building to them based on the feedback you're getting in your business of what you need to optimize.
Yeah.
I think it's what everybody should do, right? It's like, come in, just do what we tell you to do, make money, then you get to scale. Usually it's around that 20 to 30K a month mark when you start actually learning how business really works. And then you start to scale up from there. So 100%, right? And that's like what we're doing with Nolan right now. It's like, when you make this much money, you know business. And I honestly, at the bottom of my heart, really believe that making money is a skill set. Like I believe it's a skill to make money. Once you learn how to make money, you'll never be broke again. And like, you know how to make money now, right? Understanding offers, marketing, lead gen, sales, at like fulfillment, retention, all that stuff. So I guess question for you now, like for people that are maybe where you were, like they're working full-time job, they're maybe making anywhere between 5 and 10K a month. They want to quit, or they are just doing that full time, but they're not making enough to provide for their family. They're just getting by. What is your recommendation to them just overall? Like if you can give them 2 or 3 pieces of advice, like what do they need to do right now if they actually want to break out of this cycle?
So I'll tell you guys this, right? And this is news. You don't know this. So my wife's pregnant, so we're on our third. So I know.
Snap. Yeah. Let's go, bro. Congrats. That's so cool.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
But thank you. Yeah, it's I'm excited, scared, but more so excited. But it's just like, oh man. But so I'm excited about that. But you have to realize too where I'm coming from. Like I have 2 kids, a 4-year-old son, my daughter's 2, and another on the way. I'm married. I'm the sole provider. My wife does not work. She's a stay-at-home mom. And I was doing that, working full time, right? And I had this side business where I was making around, anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 a month inconsistently. And so if you're in a position right now where you don't have those things and you're just maybe potentially single, it's like, dude, what excuse do you really have? You know what I mean? So the advice I would give someone who's sort of in that phase that is single or maybe just has a significant other and doesn't have, 2 or 3 kids like me, is that maybe it's time to sacrifice a little more. Like, and really look at your day to day and like, are you really prioritizing this? Do you really need this, or is this just a want? you know, maybe you're not cut out for this. I don't know. Maybe you're too comfortable. I don't know. But like for me, like I just know that I plan my day 2, 3 days in advance. It's like every night, right? I look at what I've done that day and what I need to get done tomorrow. And so I've been doing that for over a decade. And so
Dang.
it's gotten me this far, but like I still have a lot more to accomplish. But like for anyone who is in that situation where I was, like I really do feel like it's really time to lock in. Like it's time to lock in, or else you will be clocking in forever. So that would be my advice to them.
Yeah, that's good. And for everyone watching right now, and this is the case with, at least I hope, most of my YouTube videos, whenever you watch these, and like when you're watching this video right now, you really have two choices in front of you, two options. You can either, one, look at this video as just another video you're going to watch because you're bored while you're eating lunch. You're going to go back to doing the same shit that you've been doing this whole time. Or you're going to watch it. You're going to take these things into account from guys that are actually making multiple 5 figures a month and actually look at yourself in the mirror and decide if you're actually going to make a change. Because at the end of the day, if you don't, it's your choice. And that's fine if you don't want to. But don't fucking complain to anyone in the future for the lack of action that you took and didn't take because you're just too complacent, too comfortable. And I'll share another perspective on that too. Cause like, dude, I don't even have kids yet. Or we want to, and we will here soon. I'm super excited for it. Like, I'm so excited for it, which is crazy because like 6 months ago, I was like, F that. I don't ever want to have kids. And now it's all I want, which I think really comes with meeting the right person, right? And wanting to actually build that family. Yeah. And like, I love Amanda so much. Like I don't deserve her, and just talking about it, you know, gets me emotional, but I had no clue that she existed. I never thought I'd ever be worthy of something like that, of like someone to take care of me and love me and like actually be able to be an asset to my life, until I became the person that was worthy of that. Because dude, like a year ago, she wouldn't have given me the time of day because I was still figuring my stuff out. And you can either, because I really do believe everyone's going to meet that person at some point. And I believe to the bottom of my heart, like, I don't think there's like that one person for everybody. I think a marriage could work with many different people, but I also know that, you know, God is all knowing. But at the same time, you still are the one that has full autonomy of your decisions. And at the end of the day, the caliber and the quality of the spouse that you attract is dependent on who you determine you want to be. And then you have to become that person first. You have to become that person first before trying to then be that person. Because there's two options. You can either, one, wait, be comfy, complacent, not sacrifice, not put in the work now, and then meet that person down the line. And it's either like right person, wrong time, and maybe they get away forever, or you don't attract the caliber of the person that you want because you're not that person yet. And then when you meet that person, now you start to want to have kids. Now you start want to building a family. And now you do have responsibility and a why and a drive. But because you didn't sacrifice when you had the time and the flexibility and the freedom, now you got to sacrifice while you have a family. And that's going to make it a hell of a lot harder. That's going to make it so much more difficult to do, right? Or you can realize it now. I was talking to one of the guys in the program the other day. He's single, doesn't have anything going on. He's like, bro, how do I stay motivated? He's like, I'm just like so burnt out. And I have a lot of empathy, but at the same time, it's like, and I'm pretty blunt with people, with guys. And I told him, I was like, bro, you're just super comfy right now. Like you've got no reason. You're not making a reason. Like you're just comfy and you're complacent and you're allowing it to victimize yourself. Like you're allowing it to victimize yourself and not take the action you need because there's no fire under your ass. And so I told him that. I was like, you can either realize that there's one of two things that'll happen. You can either grind now and understand that you're going to meet that person one day. You're going to have kids one day. At least if that's what you want, that's what he wants. So I was like, it's going to happen one day. So either become the person now so you can genuinely enjoy the time you have with them, or you're going to be slaving for a long time, like after that. And the fact that you have another kid on the way and you're already making as much as you are right now, now we just like continue scaling and then start bringing more people onto the business so you can get your time back. Yeah. There's nothing like that in the world. Yeah. And like, I'm pumped for you, dude. Like, I'm so happy that you freaking quit and that you're doing this thing and you already made that much and you're just going to go up from here. And now you have full autonomy. You don't report to anyone but yourself, and you can give that time and attention and love to your wife and to your kids, which is ultimately why we do this, right? It's like, that's the whole point. That's the whole goal. And then to be able to give back to others. Anyway, I digress, but yeah, dude, that's where it's at. And at the end of the day, it's a choice. You just got to decide.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, man. That was tight.
I'm pumped, bro. I
Yeah.
think it's great. So okay, last thing, what's next for you, man? What is the goal? Like 6 month
Uh,
goal, right? Because we're in Q2 now. So when
yeah.
we get closer towards the end of the year, where's the business going to be, and what is your focus currently moving forward?
Oh man. Well, again, don't want to reinvent the wheel. I think 60. It's funny too. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. And full transparency, I feel like I still am in that imitation phase where I'm still imitating,
Mhm.
which is great. That's actually where I need to be right now because I still
Yeah,
have so much to learn.
yeah.
But goal wise, man, I want to get to 60K. I need to get to 60K a month. That's my next goal. Yeah,
Why 60?
great question. Um, it's possible. I think two months ago, or even last year, December, September, when in that
Hmm.
time when I met you, um, digitally, not in real life,
Yeah.
I didn't even think it was possible to hit 15,000. I just had so many limiting beliefs, and so
Mhm.
now I'm like, whoa, dude, like, why couldn't I? Why couldn't I? Why can't I? The roadmap is there. It's literally there. And I just need to put in the work, listen to people who are smarter than me, get in those rooms, right? Focus on sales. I'm looking at my calendar right now. It's just like all sales calls,
That's awesome.
which is
I
which
love
is
that.
good, which is good. And,
Yeah.
and so in my business, like blue, like the calendars are color coordinated. And if it's light blue, that means it's all sales. And so it's like literally
Hmm.
all. It's like the top half of my day, like the morning is like coaching calls and like role playing, and then the other half is just blue, just sales calls. So,
That's beautiful.
but yeah, no, 60K. Why? I think it's possible, and then from there, potential will move it. But it goes back to what you were saying. Just I. Part of the reason why I quit my full time job is also to show my kids that, hey, man, this is fucking possible, dude. Like, this is fucking possible. Like, you don't have to be stuck in this rat race working for someone else, right?
Mhm.
Like, you could make your own rules, right? You could give a ton of value to more people, and you could help more people if you are a business owner. And so I want to teach that to my kids. And so I can't say that if I didn't do it, you know.
Yeah.
Like that's part of being a father is talking that shit. You have to talk it and then you have to walk it. And so I can't just talk it. I got to walk it. So that's another reason why. And so that's my why really, is to show my kids. Another thing too is like, yes, like sure, I'll have a little bit of money, I'm sure, to give my kids, but the biggest thing that like drives wealth is going to be teaching your kids and your family how to make money.
Hmm.
That's where it comes. If you just gave them money or gave them like a trust fund, like they wouldn't know what to do with it. So for me, it's just I want to be able to be that example as a father, so, and as a leader. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that, dude. And when you say 60, I'm also willing to bet that like it's not you probably have that goal not so much because it's like of what the money's going to do for you, but probably more so because now you actually believe that it's possible,
Yeah.
right? Like the limiting beliefs are continually being broken down. And
Yeah.
I firmly believe that you will only make as much money as you believe you are worth and that you are capable of making. If you don't believe that 15K is possible, you're probably not going to make 15K,
Hmm.
right? Until you do what? Like, what do you think really broke that ceiling for you of like, okay, I think I actually can do that. And then you actually hit it.
For me, oh man,
Yeah.
it was a bit of combination of things. I think just focusing more on sales, right? Like I think removing myself from the delivery of fulfillment. I think that helps. Um, Obviously, you'd have to look at your margins, but for me, just focusing highly on sales. Here's the other thing too. Like I know a lot of the video business owners, like in my area, right, in like Sacramento, Folsom area in California.
Hmm.
Not a lot of them are good at sales. Like I love them all. I love them all. They're creative, and they're like, when it comes to filters and lenses, they know their shit. But when it comes to sales, they just don't know how to do it. And that's the thing. Like sales is tough for some people, and for some
Oh,
people they
yeah.
just can't figure it out. And so for
Yeah.
me, that's why I got uncomfortable. I got uncomfortable by doing a lot of role playing, right? I got uncomfortable by just putting myself in as many sales calls as I can, because I knew that that was going to make me better. And I'm at a point now where like a lot of these guys that are like who are in my area, they're reaching out to me and they're like, dude, like how did you close that client? Like that was a big client. And I was like, dude, Easy, man. Easy.
Just another day, bro.
Yeah, dude. It's
Dude,
easy.
what would you say to, because I talk to so many creatives all the
Yeah.
time, and I
Yeah.
hear a very common thing, which is I don't want to do sales because I don't want to be salesy. I just want to make videos. I will leave it at that. What would you say to those people? Like, what's your recommendation? People that say that.
Oh man, there's two ways to look at it, right? Like, it, there's another side to it where you could potentially, maybe potentially, team up with someone that handles that for you, and you could focus on the creative part. You could do that, and I've seen people be successful doing that, right? We also have to remember that everything is sales. So in order for someone to work for you, you also have to sell yourself. You have to sell the business. So if you don't even know how to do that, then it's going to be really tough to grow any business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, then you will always be small, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But like if you're really trying to scale the business, if you're really trying to grow, you have to focus on sales. You have
Yeah.
to. You have to
What
put
do you
down
think
that
about
camera.
100%? What do you think about guys that are like, oh, well, I'll just hire someone to come and do sales for me, so I don't have to do that?
Same thing. You're going to have to sell them to come come work for you, right? And I know this for a fact. Salespeople will not go on some random offer if the business owner can't even sell themselves, because a
Yep.
salesperson is going to ask, well, can you send me some of your sales calls? And they're going to be
Yep.
like, oh, I don't have any.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude,
Bye.
it's so I talk to so many people. They're like, well, like if I want to be a good business owner, like I got to delegate. I was like, bro, you got to do it yourself first before you can delegate. Like
Yeah.
you have to understand how to manage and how to train, because you can't hire someone and then have them perform the job in your business better than you. Like it just doesn't work that way. Like they're going to be up to 80% of your standard, and you have to set that standard first, right? So 100%, it's like you cannot bring on a salesperson until you get good at sales. So the solution, either be comfy, staying where you're at and working on word of mouth. There's nothing wrong with that. You just need to be okay with staying in that position.
Yeah.
Or you realize, hey, if I want to make a lot more money, like I actually need to do the things that make me uncomfortable, because guess what? Building a business in and of itself is extremely uncomfortable. So you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable and just like do all this stuff that like you do, like you said, you're just jumping in role plays time and time again, getting in the reps, taking sales call after sales call. Cause like we said before, you don't learn by learning, you learn by doing. So
Yeah. Oh, and another action item, record all your sales calls. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like even before I joined coaching programs and all that stuff, I was recording my sales calls on a Canon G7X. Like I was recording it, and I would listen back to see like where I screwed up on. So even from the very beginning, man, like I was already recording my phone calls and listening back. So I think that's if there's any actionable tip, record all your phone calls, record all of your Zoom calls, all your sales calls, record them, and then it's the most painful thing, but pain is good. It's the most painful thing to go back and rewatch them and re-listen to it, because you're just like, why did I say that?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Why did I say, what's your budget? Why did I ask that? Why did I ask that?
Why did I say, of course you can think about it? What am I doing?
Yeah. Why did I say, of course you could speak to your wife about it? Yeah, that makes sense.
Why did I say, of course I'll send you an email proposal?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So download Fathom AI. Well, download it. Get the extension. Like sign up for Fathom. Have an AI note taker in all your calls and record all your calls, because you will literally learn so much by just reviewing your calls. Like so much more, in my opinion. I think that's where you learn the most, more than like getting in the reps, more than watching sales trainings. Like just watch back what you do, because you might think you did an okay job, and then you watch it back and you're just like, I suck. And then you can learn exactly what you need to do to actually improve. So yeah, 100%. Okay, so we're about 50 minutes in. This is great, Dan. Thanks for hopping on, dude. There's some gold in here. At this point in the call, what do you think someone should do? Like, put yourself in their position. They're where you used to be. They're making like 5K a month, 10K a month, and like they want to make change, but like what do they do at this point? What's the next best step be for them after this video?
Man, I mean, after this, I mean, you gotta take action. You gotta do something. And so for me, obviously, not to toot, Ridge's horn or anything, or even mine, but like reach out to Ridge. I think that's going to be a big thing, because again, not everyone can join Ridge's program, right? Like you have to meet certain qualifications. But for me, like I'm glad I did. So I highly recommend it, right? If that's what you want to do, if you're ready for that, great.
Mm-hmm.
Hit Ridge up. Other than that, Ridge has like a ton of free content out there, right? And so that would be it. I mean, again, you're either going to pay with time or you're going to pay with money, right? So
Yep.
if you're watching this and you've watched the whole thing, well, shit, you probably got a lot of time. So so maybe spend some time like, YouTube University,
Yeah.
right? But if
Yeah.
you're trying to get like some like real professional advanced help when it comes to growing your agency, like hit up Ridge. That's what I would do.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, but in the meantime, freaking watch the crap out of YouTube. Especially, we're back on the cadence now. Just launched one today. It was really good. Lots of good stuff in there. And then just subscribe and watch more moving forward. To get a ton of resources. Try to help out as much as we can. But Dan, dude, I'm super honored and blessed that you jumped into the family with us when you did. I'm super proud of where you're at. Like I can't tell you how excited and happy it makes me to hear where you're at, and the fact that you got another kid on the way. Like I'm just super pumped, and this is just the beginning for you, man. So I'm excited to keep working with you and keep growing together. And yeah, man, you know where to find me moving forward. Thank you for the time again, and everyone watching this video, thanks for giving us your time. Go ahead and watch more YouTube, and if you guys have more questions, feel free to hit me up. You all know where to find me. Shoot me a DM. Thanks, Dan. Peace out, dude.
Later.